Hi, thank you for watching. Hello everyone. Thank you for watching. This is Melky here, and I'm not looking very neat. I feel bad about that. Turn out I'm not really looking, but it's fine. Okay, so uh, um, today I watch a lot of Christian contents. Um, there are very nice videos. Maybe I can show some of them for you. The Bible hubs. Um, I forgot the name. Let me search for it. Bible animation. I think that's the name. And he has Australian accent. Um, and this is the channel at Bible underscore animations. Let me write it over here. It's one of the nice videos he made today. This one. Another one that is pretty important, I think, is the Nigerian persecution. Gotta give you the channel as well. That is from CBN. CBN. CBN News at CBN News Online. CBN News Online. Now, talking about Nigerian Christians, I feel that God is very nice to me. I I wish I can do something more. I just watch and donate and kind of promote people to defend Nigeria. The U.S. is have been holding true to their words that they are a nation under God, and they attack the terrorists in Nigeria. So I really am very grateful for US presence in this world. Some Muslims would say that US is had performed a lot of atrocities. The latest that I remember is something that happened in Iran as well, and the support to Israel. In a way, I can't deny that, but in a way, I also um, are cheering for US for this is what God say, right? If you acknowledge God, then God will straighten your path, right? Acknowledge Him in what you do, and He will straighten your path. I think it's in Proverbs. So because the U.S. acknowledged Jesus, I think in a way that they are very blatant, they are very out there, outspoken. So many bad things can be pointed out. It is a big country, it consists of a lot of people, but because they are so outspoken, a lot of bad things are said about them, and people, as a defense mechanism, they they focus on the bad things that are happening because they want to our intuition is to protect, right? So we have to firstly get rid of the bad things to feel safe. Unfortunately, US is very outspoken, freedom of speech, but the downside is that the bad side got they surface like a buoyancy thing, like wood on water, while other countries were silent. I think it's a virtue. I'm not saying that being silent is bad, but if you are honest, eventually bad things about you is going to surface, and you're going to be forced to deal with it. And I think a lot of countries have performed. I think a lot of countries, we know there are corruption in Ukraine, corruption in Russia, corruption maybe in all a lot of nations in Southeast Asia, Indonesia, Malaysia, Africa. But people are not paying attention to that because, unlike the US, they are not outspoken. So, but if you call for protection for Christians, the US are the country that Christians can can say that, wow, this country actually put the money in their mouth for Christianity, and including especially in particular for military defense. So if you're a Christian police, Christian members of the army in all over the world, I support you, because let's say imagine a case where someone is trying to kill your family, or someone is performing a dangerous act that is sometimes you got to be able to, if you pull up a gun and kill that person, I don't think that is a bad thing to do. Like for example, someone was about to kidnap your kids, and you have a gun in your hand. I don't know, man. Like if you could prevent that from happening, you know what I mean? Is it a bad thing? Is it a sin? Yes. So I don't think so. I think if you're a police and you're a member of the army, or even if you like Americans having a gun and legally protect yourself, I'm all for that. I don't think in Christianity things like that are discouraged. Um, but I am aware that some Christian would say that um, that thing is, should be secondary. I don't think so. Like personally, I think if you should be able to pick up arms and protect yourself. That's what I think. And that is the problem in this world. Like Christians don't want to attack terrorists because they think that terrorists, I don't know what to say, they think that it probably is a sin. I don't think so, because if you can save lives, you should be able to do that. And in fact, like corporal capital punishment is probably a good idea in my opinion, because if you have a mass murderer, and you kill him legally, I think that person is going to, the death of that person is going to bring up a lot of potential in prosperity and closer towards the kingdom of God. Um, which brings us to the issue of unforgivable sin. Um, Peter talked about unforgivable sin. Paul also talked about unforgivable sin. Whereas if a person already become a Christian and then sin again, that is an unforgivable sin. Of course, in detail, sinning again means because Jesus forgives. If someone sin against you, forgive them 70 times 7 times. And also talk about the apostles also talk about, if you confess, and like the whole community, whole church will support you to stop sinning. you know what So the common interpretation as common Christians would be, if you uh, decided to become a sinner again, like not a Christian, because Christian keeps on improving towards perfection, right? But you stop doing that, and you decided to be a murderer, you decided to be a fornicator, you decided to go against the law of God, the law of Jesus Christ, even after you already experience all the goodness of Christianity, meaning that you have understand it. That is what's commonly understood as an unforgivable sin. But Paul and Peter talk about this differently, so I understand it like this. Paul said he would give these people out, he would excommunicate these people so that these people would experience, like, like when Job was attacked by the adversary and his life was entirely ruined. uh, that's the kind of thing that probably Paul was getting at. But Paul also said at the end of the day, I mean, Job is a righteous person, don't get me wrong, but we're telling about, I'm talking about, um, you know, a Christian who is falling out and being given to the hands of the enemy, which is something like that. But Paul said he will be saved, but as if out, came out from the fire. But Peter said he cannot be saved. People like that cannot be saved. So the way I understand it is that you, as members of the church, cannot save him. Like, um, he will be saved maybe by the natural development of things, but it is no longer our obligation. And furthermore than that, it we are banned, maybe, like, this is just my interpretation of it, we are banned from trying to save that person again. So it is just like, it is not, you should focus like the five virgins, who is wise, and five virgin who is not wise. You should focus on other things. You should focus, don't give out to your pearl to the dogs, don't give out your treasure to the pigs, right? Because the pigs will trample it and dogs will return to its vomit. It would be useless. You should be focusing and running the race, uh, focusing your power, your energy, your resources towards what's going to yield, what's going to make money, heavenly money, right? Acknowledgement from Jesus Christ. And um, that's just the way I understand it. We still need more conversation about that. Maybe some would argue that Paul and Peter was talking about two different instances. Yeah, maybe those are the things. But I'm just saying, if you commit corporal punishment, things like that, would it is something that you, I wouldn't say that that is unchristian like. I think that is, in fact, when Jesus went out to heaven, he said, you will do things more than I do. Like, so we will do things that Jesus didn't do while he was in this world. So if people get keep you, evil get keep you from being able to do God's work, you do like Jesus did, went up across the lake and rebuke legion into the sea, right? That's what you do. And then after that, it would be much easier for you, uh, drown the pigs into the sea. It would be much easier to you for you to do God's work. But we got to be careful here, because we have history of stupidity where we kind of persecute innocent people. Like, for example, Galileo was being put on house arrest for revealing science. That is also some kind of regrettable acts from Christians that when we are in power we get to do that. And for much recent times, Westboro Baptist Church like persecute the gays in a manner that they are not careful about it, while gay people just want to live some gay people just want to live peacefully. And that is like they just want to kind of force them to went against them by force, which is something that God didn't do in the Garden of Eden, right? So you got to pay attention to that as well. We as Christians, we have to, I think we have to pay attention to the law, and like Paul said, honor our government, because the process of the law, for something to be able to be created into the law, it's not just a matter of good conscience, or it's just not a matter of what is right or what is wrong, but it's also the whole process or democracy and everything are the procedures that had, historically speaking, had gone through blood and sacrifices. Therefore, we are honoring the sacrifices of our previous humans or our ancestors in in formulating the law. You know what I mean? So things like that also you need to pay attention to that. This problem is not, it could feel like a intuitive problem, but um, it is heavy, it is very massive. So with borrowing or standing through the shoulder of giants, which is the law, and the procedures of the law, we should be able to borrow some for power from the giants, albeit the giants are being attacked right now and we are unaware of it. Therefore we let them took the power of the giants from us. So now we have a problematic mix of useful law, useless law, and evil law. But people who are like, um, maybe they are drowned in debt and they just want to get money to get out of debt, they would promote the narrative of the companies, right, to make as much profit as quickly as possible. And they just auto bullshit the law, right? They just auto bullshit law bullshit. um, it's not timeless, it's old, it's expired and shit. It's like, bro, uh, more and more communism for you and less communism for me, right? Go away. And um, dictatorship. Maybe it's not gonna be communism, probably dictatorship. The point is, guys, it is a Christian thing. It is a Christian thing to be capitalistic. For example, the parable of the talent, the parable of the virgins, um, and the parable of the master who gave equal amount of money to different kind of time of work. That's also a parable. And I also want to talk about this where Paul said that the rich, the one who have many should exchange with the one who have little, so that there will be equality in the church. I I think we always have to refer to Jesus Christ, and I believe Paul, the way Paul speaks, guys, is always, he always expects people to think that he had, um, the context is that he cares about the law, okay, that he is a Jew, all right. So I don't think people should interpret Paul away from that context. Therefore, if you say that Paul is a communist for saying that, that means you are assuming Paul to reject the parable of the talent and all of this capitalistic stuff that Jesus said. In fact, let us move a little bit further and say that more than capitalism, it's about meritocracy, right? So let's change the word capitalism to meritocracy, right? And I think in terms of that context, I would personally say that Paul is not being communistic in regulating. Like, it is nice if you do it voluntarily, but this is an ordainment from Paul. I don't think he was talking about that. I don't think he was saying that you must, if you are rich, you must give to the poor your money until everyone has equal wealth, which is something that didn't happen in practice. For example, with Priscilla, she is richer. As simple as that. I think it's about intellectual property. Like for me, I do, like, I've been working as an accountant. I think if you have a factory, right, and you produce a lot of goods, people give you a lot of money and a lot of acknowledgement, and you should see the work that is not really acknowledged, like artistry, you know what I mean, like carpentry, while like plumbing, that prevalently or inherently a component in your house that you use everything every day. Your toilet, you use your toilet every day, right? I think you should equalize the you should take turns, you know what I mean, in giving appreciation, the proper appreciation. The problem is that why you have to take turns like that is because if you want to appreciate everything correctly, right, you're not going to have anything in this world. So it's going to be like communism. So you gotta take turns, focus on this dude first and that dude, but always in the context of justice, that it is appropriate to do so. There's an actual merit, an actual work that you do that hasn't been appreciated. Like the language of David, if we read David, is the one that is afflicted, right? David is poor, even though he's rich. He has a lot of money, but he was poor because he experienced an injustice, right? He's poor, and therefore you gotta because Jesus Christ is God of justice. He will bring justice. He's the bringer of true justice in this world. So we got to do God's work, right? God's work is that we got to be just. I think no, it is not I'm trying to command you to be just. I think what I'm trying to say that is that the opportunity, how to take the opportunity, is that it's the way you take the opportunity, right? It's not by communism, right? But it's through bullseye of meritocracy. It's like now and then after that, when the economy become richer and richer and richer, eventually the taking of turns have a higher bottom line. All right. And then back to Nigeria, I think we got to stop this, right? We got to be able to kill the enemy that is blatantly killing kids, killing women, destroying, you know what they do, right? I don't know why they just do that. These people, they it's a part of their problem, I think. Why are they so used they use envy a lot. I think God let envy happen in this world, where Jesus Christ was given to envy. It says, um, for a purpose. But eventually, I think there's going to be a time when envy is no longer prevalent. I hope, for God's sake, the enemy of God. I think one day envy will be gone, and I think you should distinguish yourself from envy. If you do politics, don't use envy, guys. It's just like try your best not to be in the side of envy. Always these politicians that are enemies of prosperity always use envy to further their power, and we should do the opposite of that. I think because that the anchor of that politic is the opposition against love. So that is the logic behind that power. That they obtain power by synchronizing with the opposite of love, because the opposite of love is attracts uh, people's attention very strongly, because people want to protect themselves, right? They want to protect themselves, so they need to solve problem, and they're very neurotic about it. And eventually they got Stockholm syndrome and things like that. That's what they're relying on. And that's why we should do otherwise, the opposite of that, to go against envy and to circumcise our heart to not cater to envy. And one person that I see online that I admire a lot, I don't like, guys, I got to give it to him. You know, David Wood. Have you ever seen what's going on in his life? But the way he carried himself online is very, very anti-envy, and that is so amazing to me. Like that guy is admirable, and that I admire that guy in that way. You want to say that I will support everything he do? Obviously, from my stance, some of the things are not is something that is beyond. Some of the things that he do is beyond me, and some of the things that he do also is something that I think. Well, then I have to mention in detail what are the things. Let me just say that I have found myself in the past disagreeing with some of the things that are happening in his channel, that he condoned or that he did or something like that. But that's what happened with Christians. We Christians are not perfect people, including myself. I could be wrong indeed about this because he knew better. I think he's in the front line of things where I am not as much. And he probably knew better than me. But still, now I think there are some of the things that I don't think I've changed my mind. I didn't remember that I've changed my mind about that. Anyway, David Wood is very admirable of that, and I think we all should take him as an example in his approach, which is very unpleasant, right, to the mass. And I think that is a very Christian thing to do. That is what we supposed to be doing, because the enemy is trying to, you know, we gotta fight the enemy, and that is the enemy. Like we gotta be like more like Trump. We gotta be unpleasant like that. Got to talk some dirty words sometimes when it's appropriate to do so, because we want to change the meaning, right? Dirty words is always associated with the dirty things. If we can change the meaning into good, that is a good thing, isn't it? This is what I like about Americans, right? Before in Indonesia, people were talking dirty, and some of the meanings are good. Like some of the things are funny and pleasant, and it's for friendship. But now, not so much. I think this is a degradation, in my opinion. But in America, they do it all the time, right? And it's funny and it's fun and it conveys meaning well. It's sometimes I don't agree about all of it, some of the things. But I think in general they did it right. We are going backwards and they're going forward in that. And we should do more of that. We change the meaning, change bad meaning into something that is good, and that is for love, rather than something that induce riot, hatred, persecution, and something that induce slander and gangsterdom, and something that induce bullying. This is so insane. And anyway, yeah, guys, we gotta kill these terrorists, guys. And maybe they will be safe in a way, because I see the furtherance of technology. Um, Maybe one day people will figure out how to bring people back to life. I've always said that in this channel, right? Uh, Maybe if you can reverse the weather, you probably could reverse the decomposed body, right? And um, through mathematics, through simulation, computer simulation, probably we can bring a person in computers. If we got a very good computer, a lab-placed demon, for example. But maybe that, I think it's something that is going to be achievable, and from there on we can even that we can, like, for example, aborted babies, for example. I'm pro-life, I'm not pro-abortion at all. But I think in the past the Philistines would sacrifice their babies. I think those babies probably would be able to be brought back to life, maybe. And that would be, we're gonna have a chance to get to know them and have fun and probably play games with them. Or maybe Jesus himself would take care of that, because I think God is a responsible God, and it's all about, and all of the gospel is about God's responsibility. And therefore we do the things we do because, and we are here in this rotting world because God want to give us a chance to perform, and therefore through our merit, and because of our merit we would be rewarded. It is an opportunity to us to be rewarded. So all of the atrocities, all of the bad things that have happened would have a reason where God of justice will see that, and will recompensate that. Including the dead babies is something that God knows. God is a just God. You got to understand, God is love himself, life himself, and goodness, good continuity, and therefore justice. And therefore, don't have to worry. Jesus will take care of it. The question is now is like, what have you done? Right? I'm not saying like if you haven't done anything, it is your it is not salvation. I think salvation is in the trust to Jesus Christ, trusting in the name of Jesus. But I'm talking about opportunity, right? Where you gotta get a lot of opportunity. Like, don't waste the, like, you know what I mean. If now that your sin is forgiven, your merit is not going to be abrogated that much. So this is an opportunity for you, for me, to get as much merit as possible, and therefore God will give us, um, you know, God will, because of justice, right? Uh, we would be rewarded and that reward, because it's from Jesus Christ, is much better than the reward that we're going to get in this world, I believe. And therefore, mm, it would be a waste for us to think that our sin is going to abrogate our merit, and therefore we're not going to do it. I think if you believe in Jesus, that is no longer the case. So, um, and also you're saying that if people are not saved, um, later on Jesus will save them in through some procedures, of course. I think so. Yes, I think so. And so if you fail to save a person or a family member, or you don't have to worry about that. No, I'm just saying if you believe in Jesus, you would want to do things that you would want to do, and in I think you should be successful, right, in what you want to do. um, and Also, it's okay to kill people, because later on Jesus will clean up your mess or something like that. You can abuse it, of course. As a Christian, we don't abuse God. Like many times in the Bible, we already been given the story, we're already being given the philosophy of how to act with God, together with God, but not you know um, get ahead of ourselves, of course. But yeah, I think yeah, maybe you don't really have to worry about that thing. You gotta, like, this is the thing, right? I don't want to be like Hitler, right? You're like, this guy is does this guy doesn't have good genetics, and therefore slowing everybody down. No, I'm not. No, absolutely not, right? But if you say this guy is a mass murderer, mass rapist, and he's going to mass kill and mass rape a lot of people, I think, yeah, you know what I mean. But if you're like Nick Fuji, you're like, whoa, let God surprises you, right? Let God surprise the world with His strength, with His love, uh, being work upon this person, and this person will work upon it, upon the world, and let God surprises you with His or her, with God's work upon this person, I think. And that is also a merit of presence. But I cannot imagine the sacrifice and the suffering. I don't want to act like I know, but it's just like cold calculation, just merely logic. I think that is the, I think that's the fate right there. What else did I learn this week? Um, mm, this week, I think there are a lot of things, but I forgot about it now. Um, about the economy, how to improve the economy, like that. Yeah, right. Like I already talked about Paul's proposition that you gotta appreciate the intangible works that people do. Sometimes your employee have discovered a method of production that is being used until now. I think that's an opportunity for you to give royalties or something like that. If maybe not immediately, that's gonna disrupt your plan or your business usual, like your working capital or something like that. I'm not saying that you should destroy your business or disrupt your working capital. I'm just saying, like, put that in your mind, and so that in the future you could figure out how to activate that, and in turn it's going to bear fruit. And when it bears fruit, It's going to be innovative and beautiful and lovely, and it's not going to be a waste. And I think the force of the prince of the world is going to attack you when they see that, when they see like, oh, this is how you do it, and this is going to destroy my reputation, and therefore I'm going to destroy that so that people would see that that is a bad idea. When that happened to you, rejoice, because that is what have been done to those who are before you. Thank you, Jesus. And that is your reward right there. That is an opportunity. Should not miss it. And what else? I'm like, I don't know what else. I don't know, guys. What else you wanna go with? I think there's also a contention about hmm, I don't know if I should say some of the stuff is not really cooked yet. I'm still cooking, so it's not yet cooked, and I don't want to give out things that are wrong. I probably, because I already talked a lot, I probably already said some things wrong in this video already. So uh, I hope God will forgive me and improve me and change me if I'm wrong. But that is the life of the Christian. Don't let Christians um, kick you out from God, but always look at Jesus. I know Christians are supposed to be the picture of Jesus in this world. The picture is not perfect right now, but you can get some gist of it. Like, if you got things that are good from that person, take it as like Jesus like. And Christianity can be very boring, the ritual, the repetitive ritual. Yes, I think this part is improvable. I think we should not be allergic to the arts of the world. And you want to say it's from Lucifer? Again, guys, I if you want to see my previous video, I think the essence of the enemy came much more primordial than Lucifer. It's not about Lucifer. That the real our enemy is not about that, guys. It's about anti-God, anti-love, anti-goodness, anti-sustainability, temporariness rather than eternity. That is what the enemy is about. Death, lies, and stealing. It's not about music. It's not about beauty. No, 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 guys. No. And therefore, probably that's the because of that deception of Satan, we feel proud that our art sucks. We feel proud that our rituals are boring. Maybe not. Maybe we can find something out there that we can implement into our Christianity. Remember, Paul said that everything that is good, everything that is gives glory to God. Think about all of these things. Of course, you got to use your filter. You got to use your discretion, but you gotta, like, the way I do it, guys, is like to give merit where merit is due. Fashion, for example, could be very, very yeah, if you're a new Christian, get away, run. And if you still think that the church is wonderful, yes, go to the church and experience the church instead. But guys, especially priests, especially like pastors, eventually people are gonna get bored, and you know this. But why do you say that that those art are evil and this art in the church is better? Like, what? No, their arts are better. Your art sucks. Why are you saying yes? They are evil because they, they are not like, but there's honesty in good art, and we should take it. Why we should save it even. So that's what I'm going to say. But not all pastors are evil, okay, because of this. No, no. I'm just saying that there's a mistake here, guys, and that what keeping us down. That what I'm not. I also I'm not trying to say that charismatic Christians are the best. That, and then after you're successful with mega churches, that is pretty successful, I think, bringing a lot of people in. That is, in a way, is a is something that is great, and I don't know how to do that. That is something that I admire a lot. But but you know but you know there are a lot of problems with charismatic Christians, especially where they are very risky in terms of their theology, and sometimes they do things that are that allows people who are not really Christian to take a stance and mislead people, and that is also very dangerous. It's not. I don't. I'm going to stop speaking there. There are a lot of things. There are a lot of things there that are internet already about the mega churches. The problem with some pastors that are drunk with money. Um, but I think also that art is not just shallow. Art is something that is deep. Art is something that unites people, if at the level that they cannot understand, that is beyond mathematics, that's going to improve mathematics inside of people, that's going to improve their logic. And I believe that logic is a part of faith, that faith includes logic in them. And therefore, if you got a very good art, that's going to improve logic, and eventually it's going to improve faith. And therefore, um, you, instead of saying that's from Satan, wait a minute, is it true that it's from Satan, or it's just art, where it can be used for bad, it can be used for good. And I think you got to be honest of what art does to you. When you experience this art, when you experience this music, you got to be honest of what feeling that you get from it. And you got to be more sophisticated in terms of, why do I feel these things? Where does it came from? Instead of saying Lucifer, 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 the leader of the music. I mean, do you remember how like the terrorists would destroy statues because they are any form, because they are a form of figures, and any figures should be destroyed. I mean, yes, it is in the Bible as well, but they did it like that. And therefore, what happened to them is that they become very persecuting in nature. I think that's because they got something wrong, that they got, and they went. I don't. You know what? I'm gonna say something wrong probably, but you're like that. You're like persecuting art, or without proper with prejudice. You use your prejudice to judge something that is like that is like prejudice to judge something that is like you ignore accuracy. You're right. You should, like, that is pretty dishonest maybe. Or I couldn't quite pinpoint what I am supposed to say, but maybe let's go with dishonesty. You're not being honest. You got to approach thing with honesty, because uh, there are a lot of things that I can say about that. But let's talk about uh, the lies. What is the lie that the snake said in Eden to the woman? The snake says a lot of things that are considered accurate nowadays, right? But what is the lie? What is the lie that happened? The lie that happened is that um, that doing what is not allowed by God is okay. That is the lie. And it is okay to persecute people because you are going against Satan. It is okay to not be truthful because you are going against Satan. I think you should consider it a problem where you have to use lies. You have to mourn the fact that you have to use lies. You know what I mean? So I kind of remember now. What about jokes? Jokes are saying things that are not true, right? But I think when it comes to jokes, people know that it is not true, and that's the point, right? And that is also why I support you using bad words in a lovely manner, because it will help change the meaning of the bad things. And I think also if you use the words that are not true, but people know that it is true, I don't think that will be, unless there's something misleading about it. Like, I think if you are making a joke, let's try our best, let's try to not mislead people, let's try to do that. But uh, also, I admit, um, what is it that I wanted to say? I kind of forgot what I wanted to say because s- multiple concerns came at all at once. I don't know what else, guys. I think um, I think um, there are some concerns about that, where if you use if you are joking, you would say things that are maybe different in meaning, but then people would understand that it doesn't mean it. It doesn't talk that it is a lie, right? Defining lie as a lie is truthful, right? And that is the beauty of jokes. Oh, I remember now. If it means good, it's good. If it's mean bad, have some sense of presumption of innocence, right? Yeah, like when it comes to attribution and implication, um, people often would say like, "Oh, I would speak without attribution because people would already know who is speaking and to whom one is speaking to." And if it means well, you probably don't, like, I think most of the time you don't have to say that you are talking to him or her. Yes, if you are talking to somebody that is you're trying to praise somebody in an inattributive manner, like for example, wow, this computer is so high tech, while you are referring to the person beside you who who also known as the computer because his mathematics is very good, and therefore he understood that you are praising him, for example. I think that is an example of doing things that are good. But for example, this computer very slow. Now you want to, like, that guy should know that you are addressing him or her. But if you're not doing it jokingly, you're doing it with anger, um, that guy, I think it would be that it would always be appropriate to apply benefit of the doubt, because a person that is being emotional, for example, maybe was actually talking about other things. That's what I'm saying. Or maybe he's not emotional, maybe he's being calculative, but he's focusing on the things in front of him, and you got offended because of that. And you should, when things are have bad connotation, always apply the benefit of the doubt. I admit that maybe he's actually not, when he's praising you, he's probably not actually praising you. He was focusing on his computer. Uh, so that is also like, but in reality, it's supposed to be, it's supposed to be something that you can tell. But this is also the thing that is probably a subject of discretion, right? Which one is evil and which one is good? How do you, how do you like, should you talk like that? Because Jesus talked in parables and he was clearly attacking the Pharisees, right? And using the parables because it applies to them. And there comes the complication with that, when in that case the Pharisee could 100% responded to him, uh, while addressing blatantly that, oh, but we are like this, we are not like that. Okay. And Jesus, I believe that Jesus is not going to say, no, I'm not talking about you, I'm talking in general. If it applies, it applies. If it doesn't apply, it doesn't apply. No, like, as a Christian, like, I think it's something that we do, that we are very clear about, that we are not trying to steal the context, I guess, to to use the context for things that are, that is not fair, right? You cannot answer it, you cannot defend yourself because of that. You have to do it like him, even though you don't like it to do it like him. um I don't think with Christian it's something that we do. But also maybe there are misunderstandings, so which one is evil, which instances are bad. I think what's unjust is that when you, if you try to answer it, then your reputation is in jeopardy because you're trying to defend yourself, but you're extra penalized trying to defend yourself. That is evil, right? You cannot be fair, you cannot get justice. That is bullying, that is not fair. So I don't know, maybe there are things that are much more complicated than that, but the point is, I don't like it when people do that to me, when I cannot. I'm very confrontational based on what people nowadays standard are. And I think that is sad, right? That is just a normal person. That shouldn't be considered as extraordinarily confrontational, right? That is sad. The development of this world, and people would say like, uh, you know, you hate women. The problem with women is they like they the problem with women is I don't hate them, I love them, but I get if, when I try to reserve, when I talk to men, obviously it's different than talking to women, right? But what I should reserve when it comes to women is that, um, maybe they would do things that are irresponsible, and when they do that, it's just a female thing, and I'm okay with that. Like, that is just the female thing. But when they take it, when they use that momentum to do things that's going to get you in trouble if you want to correct them, and it's going to be, Dr. Jordan Peterson said more like, when it comes to women, the attack is more of psychological, it's more reputational, not psychological, it's more reputational. It is something that I really hate. It is something that I don't want to deal with. Reputation complication. And that is what I don't want to deal with. I thought like it's with common sense, things like that should have been done already. But it got to be very political. And that's why I love meritocracy, right? And due to my love to meritocracy, they feel like I'm very hateful and very disadvantageous towards women, because when you're dealing with me, it means that women are not meritocratic, and that is the slander, that is the attack, indirect attack every time I am dealing with women. because I'm very meritocratic, right? But I don't think but I don't think that is the case. What the case is that I want it to be simple and meritocratic, and therefore I don't have to deal with politics and social strata or social hierarchy, and therefore hierarchy is just based on merit. It's not permanent. And I think when I'm dealing with women, they always worry about that. They always worry about their reputation like that, and I think it's just temporary. And it's not gonna happen. So, but I'm not, again, like, I don't prefer, like, I don't think men um are the only people that are good. No, but it's just like, it's just like, and in terms of romance, okay, no, 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 okay, but um in terms of in terms of daily activities, it's fine. When it comes to work, it's always fine. It's not a problem. But when it comes to a social situation, it's always a problem with me, I'm telling you, because it's always like that. Because whatever I do is going to be either insulting or dangerous. And yes, right, that I don't think I'm wrong. I always like that. And then people say, no, you're wrong. I'm saying, no, I'm not wrong. And but I think it is not a big deal. Also, it's not something that is a concern, because as long as we respect property, this is also the problem is, guys, the idea of property and socialism is really something that is eventually is going to clash, right? Socialism, what feel like it is deserving for people who have more to give to people who have less, to the point that they are willing to create a law to go for that, while they are destroying the opportunity for the rich to give it voluntarily. It is something that is deserved. It is not something that is a grace or something that is a virtue. No. So number one, you socialism already destroyed that. Socialism destroyed that opportunity, and in fact slander that person. That person is not virtuous. That person is just doing things that is supposed to be done. That is crazy. You are mentally ill. You people are mentally challenged. And how are people supposed to heal you? I don't know. How are people supposed to heal the society when you have power in the society? I don't know. You are insane people. You should go down. Okay, no, it is not like the people who have what they have should have what they have. And that is the idea of reward. If you want to reward somebody, give people salary because of what he or she did, because he or she is always there for you. If somebody says that, oh, your money is supposed to be mine, how's that money as a boss, and I give it to him or her, and then his or her cousin or something, or parent or something, says that that money is ours, that money is not yours, I'm gonna be like, I want to reward her or him, not reward you. But you know what I mean? So it's like there's no property, there are no fences, and there's no ownership. And now, because you doesn't own it, you don't feel rewarded, and therefore I can't feel like I deserve more because I already reward that person, right? Because at the back of their head, in their subconscious, they're suffering. They're like, I haven't got anything. They knew that they haven't got anything. They thought they already got something, logically speaking, but in reality, de facto, not de jure, de facto, they didn't get it. They didn't get to enjoy it. They And moreover, the problem is they're not responsible, right? It's not my responsibility because that money is supposed to be used by someone else. It's not actually mine. It's like, it's not, no. It's just, my agent. But my agent is like, it doesn't want to show his or her face. So it's not actually mine. And I'm like, so, so I have rewarded you this much. And now you don't act like you are rewarded. I'm like, um, can I get somebody else, please? And oh, I also back about God because this the title is about God. In relation to God, right? That is also the issue. What is when you wear clothing or party clothing when God invite you to the party and you're supposed to wear things that are appropriate to the party? What does it mean, right? What does God expect you when He invites you to the party and you should wear a party clothes? What is that party clothes? What is that? I think that is the maybe definitely, but I don't think that's all of it, right? When Paul said that I already got my badge or I already got the proof of my deeds, meaning his wounds when he were whipped, when he were hit by the government. I think that could be the party clothes when Jesus invites him in, but maybe not just that, maybe some other things as well. Like definitely when people treat you unjustly, and Jesus said, "Rejoice." That is also a party clothes. But I think there are many, many other things, and I want to know what is that. Maybe an actual party clothes. Maybe that is also very artistic, that is innovative, ingenious, that is novel, authentic work of art of yours that you wear and make it lovely, make the world more lovely, make reality more lovely. Because okay, the difference between the world and reality, right? I think all races have, so maybe that is the clothing as well, that could be the clothing as well. But let's talk about gay people and the nature of reality, right? I think a lot of transsexuals or even gay people, right? Maybe they feel like, why do God created us in this world? Why do God design world like this? And therefore the symptoms, maybe what's prevalent about this demographic is like maybe they're very pleasant to hang out with, very funny, very honest sometimes, and that is what I like about them. But that sometimes maybe they could be slimy and like a snake, and that's when they're lying, and when they feel so strongly about lying because maybe they cannot accept how the truth are. And you know I I don't know what is it. Maybe that's not the only thing, but what I wanted to talk about that is that um, you know there's a difference between the world that is a political world by human beings, which is the Adam and Eve, where Adam and Eve allow the enemy to get into the council of fate. The council where Elohim is there to decide the future. Therefore, there is this third party, which is the enemy, get to decide the future as well. And that is supposed to be a place for Adam and Eve. That is supposed to be the place of Jesus Christ. And the enemy is there. And that is the world, the political world. But maybe what's the objection is the biological world, where God created the world and say it is good. And I think that's connected when Adam and Eve allowed Satan to go into that council. That's when the what's supposed to be beautiful becomes problematic. And that is the gospel, part of the gospel that you guys should understand. We are trying to improve that, guys. We are trying to change that. We're trying to destroy that now. And lying is just supporting that. We're trying to, by being honest, we're going to bring the monster into the world, the monster that are going to destroy that shape and form of death that is rot, the rot, um, that's going to be destroyed by the truth. You may be asked, like, why the truth is like that. And yeah, it's a long story. If I want to explain it again, I would be talking too much. I don't want to do that, but I think you can derive the logic from that. I think you can already know what I'm going to say about that. um, so you gotta there's a difference between the world and the truth, right? uh, I don't know. I don't like. Maybe I'm going to be. Maybe I'm going to go online in another opportunity.